All right, welcome back, everybody. My recap here for my trading this morning and also going into our Discord channel. I continue to trade live every morning, one of my better days. As I mentioned yesterday, a lot of times you get these days when it's just choppy. You know, I had 2 red days in a row, and only because the market just really wasn't moving. And as I mentioned last night, a lot of times that is an indication that we're getting ready to have an explosive day. Kind of works the opposite too. I mean, a lot of times if you have a really, really good day like I had today, then I'm going to tend to be a little bit more cautious going into the following day, which is going to be this coming Wednesday, tomorrow. So, anyway, but let's talk about what we did on the indices. Not a huge day on the indices, but nonetheless profitable. These were just pretty much my textbook sell patterns. This is called pairing. I did trade the mini NASDAQ, also trade the E-mini S&P. They were both identical in the terms that they were both pairing patterns short. And I wasn't in this trade for more than maybe 30 minutes because I actually got in around a little bit after 10, got out once it hit this low at 10:30, and that was my profit target. So a 30-minute trade. It was the same thing with the E-mini S&P. We'll see that here in a minute. But the big one, the one that really exploded on me, was VFS. So I'm going to show you a couple things here. I'm going to not only look at the charts, but I want to show you Bookmap, so you can see exactly what Bookmap was looking at the time of entry, and why I really mentioned this morning that I really like this trade. So anyway, let's take a look at that real quick. All right, so here it is, VFS. We'll look at the results here after I go through these 2 charts. So anyway, entry came in around 10:02. Exact entry price was, let's see here, exact entry price was 22.81. 22.81, which is right here. 22.81. I wasn't in this trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Okay, this was a HF1 by 5 minutes. I went ahead, and this was actually a target. Now I know it looks like it was pretty close to the entry, but in reality, it's a lot further than you think because of the size of the move here. So from this entry of 22.81, just for this first target, came up to 23.22. That's a pretty good little move just for that target. But when it exploded in here and it started to weaken a little bit, I went ahead and got out. My first exit, okay, I did do 100% exit on this. I went ahead and I got out here at 20. Let's see here. It was 25. No, I'm sorry. It was 24.07. So I got out at 24.07, right around in here. All right. So I got out at 24.07, and then I didn't do anything, and then I ended up getting an HF2 buy, and I went ahead and I bought in on the HF2 buy. And I bought that in around 24.93, I think it was, 24.93. And then it just exploded again. And at this point, it was moving so fast that I couldn't even draw targets. All right. And it was just going and blowing and going. And I did have a target up here somewhere. Can't remember exactly where it was, but it was up here somewhere. Didn't quite hit the target. And then I saw this little pullback, and then it came back up, and I went ahead and I exited. But that move alone brought it all the way up to 28.44. So I got out at 28.44. So just killed it on these 2 moves here. Now, I did not re-enter again, and it went all the way up to 34. But you know what? I mean, you're not always going to catch the whole move. You don't need to, right? We just want to get a little bit out of it. We're not trying to be heroes and catch this move, because you do that, And I've done it myself. As you think, oh, this thing's just going to go to the moon, and then all of a sudden it turns around against you and it goes straight down. So you got to be real careful. So anyway, just a beautiful trade. Okay, so yeah, I wanted you to see what Bookmap looked like at the point of entry back here at 10:02. All right, so this is Bookmap. So basically similar to level 2, but it gives us a really nice visual representation of what the book is doing, the book flow, watching order flow, watching the size of the tickets coming in. And if you see, I bought this as it was going up. I bought it around somewhere around in 22, somewhere around in here. And the reason for that is because, and the reason I really liked it, as I mentioned in our morning Discord channel, was the fact that there was no sellers. I mean, you're going to see the sellers coming in on the red. And there was nothing there. It's just like all buying. Now, you know I'm really big on patterns. I mean, everything that I pretty much do are patterns. But, folks, you want to be creative when it comes to finding patterns. That's why my patterns work so well, because they're not what a lot of people think are, quote, patterns. There's different kinds of patterns, okay? Most everybody is looking for, like, price patterns, or they go to the more classical patterns, the head and shoulders and the pennants. But there are other patterns, but you got to be creative. And so, to give you kind of a clue on one of those patterns is if you look at Bookmap, this formation right here is a pattern. All right. So, not getting too much into it, but the Bookmap and the way it's represented, how the tickets are flowing and the buys and the sells are coming in, there are some really nice little patterns in there that when it sets up, it's really setting up for an explosion. You can see that by looking for these patterns, all right? And so I have several different patterns that I look for when I'm looking at Bookmap. But that's what I'm saying about being creative, is looking for, you know, a different set of patterns. And that particular pattern just confirmed what I already had on that HF1 pattern, all right? And it was very similar when I got out and came back in on that HF2, very similar type of setup where I didn't really see any selling, and it's just a beautiful little setup on the pattern showing that we didn't have a whole lot of selling, nothing really to push it down. So I definitely want to jump in on that and take advantage of it. Okay, so anyway, that being said, let's see how we did, man. Let's look at it. One of my better days today. VFS over $5,000. FAZ and CNSP, I could have carried those overnight. I did not. Both end of the day. They got close to their targets, but I have a feeling they're going to hit them tomorrow. But I just went ahead and got out, so I didn't have to hold those overnight. I am continuing to hold on to Yang, Y-A-N-G. Okay, so Yang is being carried overnight. And let's see what else. I think that, yeah, just Yang. Yang and, oh, HKD. HKD I'm also carrying overnight. So Yang and HKD are the two that I'm carrying overnight. But anyway, just a beautiful day overall when you consider that that everything was just, I mean, everything was just clicking today. I only made one trade on the E-mini. Only made one trade on the mini NASDAQ. All right. Once again, I'm really trying to keep these indices down to one trade in the morning. All right. You know, you have a nice little trade. If you're profitable, just get out. You don't need to keep trading it all day long. All right. So you're gonna hit it harder in the morning. Now you can trade later on in the day, but you got to be more careful and maybe not be as aggressive. But in the morning is the time to trade for pretty much everything, whether you're trading a future contract or a commodity, or you're trading Forex, or there are other times in Forex that you can trade as well. But that's probably the most convenient for most people. And stock, same thing. You know, that first hour or two is the ideal time to trade stocks, and then maybe at the end of the day, sometimes you have some late movers. You can pull out a little bit, but typically in the evening or in that power hour, you're not going to see these kind of moves. All right, so most traders that do trade in the morning, and they don't even trade in the afternoon or after markets. But you know what? You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But there's some little opportunities there at the end of the day. That last hour of trading, you can find a few gems in there where you can maybe pick $100, $200 out of it and go from there. So anyway, that's it. Just a beautiful day. Once again, I am going to try to be, I said try to be more cautious tomorrow. Just depends. I mean, if everything is running and everything's strong, then, you know, I'll be hitting it again. But I will definitely be more on my toes to be more careful because, you know, what you make on a big day like this, it's so easy to come in overconfident the next day. And then you end up giving it all back. So it's something particularly new traders have to be careful of, is just because you may have all winning trades in one day, maybe everything you touch, you make money. Don't think that's going to happen the next day. A lot of people get overconfident and they end up blowing themselves out. So got to be real careful about that. If you have a really big day, kind of walk away from the table, so to speak. Pull back a little bit and be more cautious. All right. And then if things are just kind of going sideways and you're just kind of not really getting anywhere and you're having these losses, get ready because that big day is coming. Then you got to get ready to pounce on it. You don't be intimidated. A lot of people, they get intimidated and they're afraid to trade and they miss the big trades and they wonder why they can't make any money. Is because they get that fear factor, right? They get intimidated by the markets and you can't make money every single day, folks. It's just not realistic, but you've got to be able to control your risk but also understand the flow of the market. It goes from volatility expansion to volatility contraction, and so you have to be watching that. And after it contracts for a while, get ready. It's going to expand for a while, so you're going to be able to pick up some really nice trades, but you got to manage your risk, all right, during those slow times. And in this case, it only lasted for a few days. I've seen it last longer, so you just gotta get in tune with the market and just really watch it every single day. If you don't have time to trade every day, which most people don't, at least in the evening or during your time when you're off, go through those charts and look and see how the market flows in the morning, how it flows in the afternoon, how volatility picks up when it slows down, and get an idea of, you know, what are the signs that volatility is getting ready to pick up. All right, that's real important. What are the signs that says, hey, this thing's getting ready to go, I need to get a little bit more aggressive. All right, so that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Wednesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays are always really good days. We'll see what happens tomorrow. May end up being a good day because it seems like with this kind of volatility, you may get a little bit of that follow over into tomorrow. But like I said, I don't want to come in with that kind of expectation, but I will be a little bit more careful because you can get overconfident and trade too much. All right, that's it. Everybody have a good night. See you tomorrow.